You ready to do this, Matt?
Yes, sir. Punch it, Chewy.
Welcome, super friends, to the Fortress of Nerditude podcast, a safe place to talk about all things in nerd and pop culture. I am Spencer Stapleton. This is Matt Shaw, my co-pilot. We are nerds that refuse to grow up, and we are two nerds. Thank you for being here tonight. This is episode 196. We release every Thursday morning, or Thorsday morning. You can find us on the website, fortofnerd.com. We have those buttons that you can hit that'll take you to iTunes, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, basically everywhere podcasts are. If you like what you're hearing, you can stop by. You can hang out for a while. You can just chill. It's cool. If you like what you're getting in your ears, you can hit that button that gets notified when we go live every week. And you can get the podcast downloaded to whatever device you listen to podcasts on. Matt, how are you this week? Was there anything different about that intro?
Am I on the right show? I think I've been invited to the wrong show.
You know, the funny thing is I was commenting this last week about how I've done the intro the same for literally 196 episodes in a row. And that if I get a slight phrasing reversed a little bit, change a word or two, literally super friends know it. They can pick it out. And so I just leaned hard into that this week.
Very unexpected. I don't see that in my show notes.
No, I pretty much, just did that on my own.
I like it. Let's not do it again, though, but I like it.
I couldn't repeat that if I wanted to, Matt.
Well, it's been a pretty good week over here at the Shaws. A little chill, a lot chill, actually.
Cool.
I'll start out by getting this out of the way. I got Fall Guys, so
yes,
you can back off. All right.
Okay, what do you think of it?
It's fun, man.
Yeah.
Of course it's fun. Emmy likes to watch me play it, as expected.
Sure.
Well, I have not played it like a lot, but I've played it a few times. Probably like 25 total competitions, probably over maybe 2 or 3 nights that I played it.
I will say this. It's a fun game just in and of itself, but playing with people is 1,000 times better.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine. I've been trying to hook up with my brother to play it, and we just haven't connected. And then I was playing during, we are an hour different, and right. I was playing before you were streaming, and then I was off by the time you started streaming, and Jesse and I were watching some shows and movies and stuff, and so the stars have to align in my life, because everybody I know in reality who plays any video games is an hour off from me. And so when they're starting to play, I'm starting to get ready to kind of wind down.
Sure.
But it was fun. I won once or twice, so I was pretty stoked about it.
Considering you've only played it like 3 different times for like maybe 25 matches total, that's pretty good. It took me nearly 20 hours of playing to knock my first win.
I got kind of lucky. I mean, you always get lucky. Like the last one is like, sometimes it's just a freaking crapshoot. I mean,
so what were the maps you won on?
I won.
Was it the Fall Mountain, the one where you climb up and grab the crown? Or
no, I got my
hexagon
butt handed to me in that freaking crown mountain thing. Because I'd never played it before, and everybody else knows the course, and I'm like, I'm just running. No, I won the grab the tail one.
Ooh, Royal Fumble. Yeah.
Yeah, so I never had it the whole time, and then with 1 second left, I just pulled it off the dude, and that's all I needed.
That's it.
So
that's all you need.
So it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. kind of messing around with that. And then Jesse and I are still watching Umbrella Academy. We're on season 2, episode 6 now, I think. So we're almost done with the 2 seasons.
Did I tell you we started that?
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that. You were only 2 episodes in last I talked to you.
Yeah, I'm still only 2 episodes in.
Yeah. I guess I can get that. Jesse watched 2 episodes like 6 months ago and didn't continue until I started to show interest. And then we watched the first 2 and I was into it and she was like, yeah, now I like it. Like, oh, okay.
See, I'm liking it, but it just kind of seems like it's a little slow right now for me.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of waiting. I'm waiting for that moment where it's going to hook me. I think tonight after we record the podcast, Brita and I may watch a little bit more.
I remember the third kind of on things coming together.
Okay.
Like, it's fun. I really like the show. And then golfed on Friday. This is the first time I've seen other humans in a while. So it was fun to see some buddies, and we went out and golfed early in the morning, and I was done by like 10:30. Golfed 18 holes, so that was a lot of fun to just get out and talk and have some good times. We got a new HOA in our neighborhood. Wow. And I expected nothing to change in any dramatic or drastic way, but we received 2 violation notices in the mail when we checked. And I had trimmed the tree like a responsible adult. And I had trimmed it a lot. And I had taken those branches and I had even collected them and tied them together with twine so that there were 3 or 4 bushels of twine roped branches, and I put them kind of on the side of the house so I could take them out for trash collection on the day that trash is supposed to be collected. And that was apparently enough to get a violation notice from the HOA. I was confused. And then I got one because our trash cans, we put them on the side of the house behind the air conditioning unit where, you can't really see them. Yeah. Apparently that's a violation because they're either supposed to be in your backyard or in your garage. And you're not supposed to be able to see them at all. So there were many violation notices, I'm sure, given out across our neighborhood because, like, if they're handing them out for me trimming trees and roping them up and getting them ready for trash collection, I can't imagine.
Well, okay, so I get that maybe the trash can thing, because we have something like that too, where they're like, trash cans are supposed to be on the side of your house, not visible, or in your garage.
Right.
And so, like, I kind of understand that one a little bit, but what was the violation for the one with the branches and stuff?
They said, landscaping has to be done or something like that. And I was like, that's literally what I was doing. I take better care of my yard than most everyone in my street. And anyway.
So are you going to fight?
No.
Are you going to fight City Hall on this?
They were courtesy notices. And so I corrected them and I wrote them an email and said, hey, these 2 violations have been brought into, whatever compliance with your demands.
See, Matt, I agree maybe sending an email saying the trash can thing is in compliance. The other one I'd say, look, I trimmed the things. They're on the side. They're waiting for trash day. They're going out on trash day. Like, back the freak off. I did landscaping.
Yeah.
Here, this is a polite courtesy. Don't bother me again.
I know, seriously.
I'm being very kind with my words because right now, like, I don't know. Like, that stuff, we have an HOA too, and we don't do, like, a ton of that stuff. Like, I'm sure some people who are in gross negligence, but, like, we don't do a lot of things that would get us into violation. But it just seems like that stuff gets so ticky-tacky. Like, come on. If you trimmed it and then you, like, neatly bundled it up and you put it in a place and set it aside for, like, 3 or 4 days later when trash is going to come out. Like,
yeah, it was ridiculous.
That's just cheap.
It was ridiculous. And they had pictures attached on each letter they send. There's, like, a picture.
Oh, so you mean one of your neighbors is spying on you?
No, it was from the street. It's the same. I'm sure it's just the same. I think somebody drives around and just takes note of violations and stuff. I would imagine that that's what's going on.
Is your HOA though run by like your neighborhood?
No, this is a new management group that they just took it over. So I'm sure they're trying to get everybody in line the first, few months, and then things always kind of go downhill.
Make it look like they're actually doing something.
Yeah. And then other than that, I think we're gonna move forward and getting our kitchen remodeled a bit. We're going to put in new countertops and extend out one of the sides to make it like a bar, and replace the backsplash and the sink and stuff. So we had some people come over and do some quotes for us, and we found a company we like. So we're gonna move forward with that, and they're gonna start working on it, I think, a week from today.
Nice.
So we're gonna get it rolling quick here. And that's all that's going on over here.
That's all that's happened in the Shaw household.
Yeah,
wow.
Man.
That sounds like a lot though, Matt.
Yeah, it's just kind of day to day, week to week. Fun.
I'm like all jacked up right now just thinking, like, how can I get myself involved in your HOA drama? And how can I put them in their place?
Oh, man. That ain't worth it, man.
Yeah. That stuff just...
I don't want a fine from the... If I was getting fined, I'd be fighting it, obviously. But I didn't really care. A courtesy thing, like, okay, I get it. You guys are hard A's.
Send me all the emails you want, yeah. Congratulations. We have an HOA here, too, and there's talk every year. Like, it always comes up. We're like, can't we just dissolve the HOA? Because it's kind of pointless. But the only problem is... we have like a shared like pavilion that's kind of like between some of our houses that butts up against our backyards. And then there's this little shared playground area. And so if we were to disband the HOA, the city doesn't want to take on responsibility for that little park area and for the little pavilion. And so if we were to do it, then the city would basically just assess us a special tax to take care of it. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty much the same thing as like paying the HOA as well.
Right.
So it's kind of like there's real no way of getting out of it unless someone can come up with a good plan to like split up the land and sell it to like each individual homeowner and make everyone's backyards a little bit different or something. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not really here to talk about HOAs, but apparently,
that's where the conversation went.
You have lit a fire underneath.
Yeah, I guess. Didn't mean to get that started.
Yes. Let's talk about mortgage rates and insurance.
Oh, no.
Just easy.
Oh, gosh.
So, let's see here. This last week, actually, for me, was really busy. It was really crazy. A lot going on. I had to let go of my employee this last week, and it wasn't what I wanted to do, but it was what absolutely had to be done. And so because of that, sadly, I am now overburdened with work, more so than I was already. So Friday night, we had a work event. It was like a family event. We were doing a drive-in double feature movie on the side of the building of our office building. And I was going to go there, set up the movie stuff, and then kind of run it, and Burrito was going to come with the boys, and we're all going to kind of hang out, and, it'd be a family time.
Yeah.
But then there was a computer that ended up needing to be worked on for the lady that does our hiring and finding us candidates. And so during a good chunk of the movies, I had to keep going back into the actual office to my desk and keep doing some of the imaging and some of the rebuilding of her laptop. And then I also came in earlier because someone else was having a problem. So like what was supposed to be like a family event for me just kind of became a work event.
Yeah.
And I just worked. So I'm definitely busier than normal now, and I will be going into the office a little more often. I'm still going to try to only go in when I'm needed, and I'm only going to go in on days that the kids are in school. If the kids are home with us and we're doing school with them, I would only go in if it's an absolute emergency and if I could work something out.
Yeah.
So trying to kind of figure all that out. Tonight was back to school night for the boys.
Oh, nice.
So we went to the school tonight and we got to meet both of the teachers and find out kind of like where their classes were going to be, where they're going to be lining up to go into the building, where they're going to be coming out from, like all the kind of the socially distancing things they're doing.
Right.
And then we come to find out that like a lot of the school districts across the state are purchasing Chromebooks for all this remote learning. So like our school district is doing this hybrid method where Charlie and Jackson are going to be in school on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Mondays and Wednesdays, they're going to be doing school from home, remote learning, which is, as we found out tonight, more of just kind of a review of things they've learned that week. And then Fridays is supposed to be kind of like one subject, like science, and then like reviewing with the teacher and stuff.
Okay.
So we were anticipating Chromebooks because it seemed like all the other school districts were getting Chromebooks. So I went ahead and purchased wireless keyboard and mice so that they could plug in and actually have like a better keyboard and a better mouse to run everything than just like the little laptop. Come to find out tonight that our kids are actually going to be issued iPads because of, I don't know, their age or whatever.
Okay.
So they're going to be getting iPads. So, of course, iPads don't have a USB slot on them.
Nope.
So I have to return the keyboards and the mice, which, of course, the kids already opened up and tore through the packaging. So,
right. Yeah, fun.
Let's see if I can get my $60 back. And then we're not even going to be getting the iPads for like till like the week after Labor Day. So the kids aren't even going to get these devices for like another 2 weeks, and they start school tomorrow. Tomorrow's day one. So like when the podcast releases on Thursday, it'll actually be their second full day in school. So I don't know. It's just like this whole like trying to figure things out, trying to, plan for the, half the kids on one day, half the next, kind of rotating thing and this, that, and, some of the kids' friends are in their this current year's class from last year, but then some of them have like different last names that don't match up. So now they're going to be on different days anyway. And
right.
So we had a conversation about like, well, it doesn't really matter. You guys will make friends. You're very friendly boys. You'll talk to people. You'll make friends. But we did that tonight, and so that was kind of interesting. I'm still waiting on the gas piston for my chair.
It's from China. It's going to take another month and a half.
Yeah, they said it could take 5 business days for the company to process the order to send the gas.
Then they got to package it. Then it's
going to take 5 to 7 days to ship it. Today is like day 12, and I was thinking, yeah, but that's 12 consecutive days. They probably mean 12 business days.
Right.
So I've probably still got another 4 or 5 business days. So maybe by the end of this week it'll get shipped is my hope.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. If they would just tell me the part number, the size of the gas piston, if there's any difference in these things or not, I don't know.
Right.
But if they're the same thing, I would have just ordered one myself on Amazon at this point by now.
Right.
So there's that. The last thing though, the thing that I'm really, really excited about, I'm gonna hold this thing up so Matt can see it. Matt, what does this look like to you?
It looks like wire. It looks like AirPods to me.
It does look like AirPods, except they are the Google Pixel Bud 2s.
Nice.
I've been waiting for the all black Google Pixel Buds to be available to purchase. And I got a little message last week on maybe like the Wednesday, Thursday that said like, hey, we're now offering the mint green, the orange, and the black versions, and you can purchase them now. And I was like, ooh, that I could use this little code and you can get it 2-day shipping.
Yeah.
And so like it looked like it was going to be like 2 weeks, and I put in a little code and they said, hey, we can have it there by the 24th. And that was like literally like 5 days later. I was like, done. So
awesome.
They arrived today. I tried a pair of Bose completely Bluetooth headphones that are completely wireless. Oh, I don't know, maybe like a year ago, maybe a little bit more, because I have some wired Bose ones that I like, the Sound Sports. But on the Bose ones, the call only went through the right audio or through the right ear, not the left ear. And then the audio came through both. If you're like listening to a podcast, listening to music, audiobook or whatever.
Right.
But the left kept dropping out and then resyncing. And so the Bluetooth on those went from your phone to the right ear, and then from the right ear to the left ear. And the left one just kept unpairing, repairing. And I took those back. I was like, no. The Pixel Bud 2s, I got them today. I followed the instructions. Found out there was already this massive firmware update that just got released like 4 or 5 days ago. So I did that. It makes calls. I can hear the audio through both ears. There's microphones in both of them, so it doesn't really matter which one. So that's good. So it takes away the whole problem I had with only having a phone call in one ear. The audio is really, really good. Occasionally, and it got a lot better after the firmware update that I did. But occasionally, like the audio, like it doesn't like fully like unsync and resync, but like it kind of shifts a little bit. Like it's almost like it phases a little bit, or kind of goes like a little robot-y for just a split second, and then it's perfect again.
Yeah.
And so I know that this technology, trying to make it work in both ears, it's still like new-ish enough that every manufacturer, every review I've ever read from anyone says like, yeah, they can drop in, they can drop out sometimes. Sometimes they'll like cut out for a split second or partially like kind of almost drop out, but then they come back in. And so you'll hear some artifacting and you'll hear some little bit of popping occasionally. And so I've only been using them for maybe half the day today. But I'm really enjoying them so far. They fit very comfortably in my ear. It's cool because they have like, there's no buttons, but I can just kind of like slide my finger across the surface to turn the volume up or to turn it down, tap it to take a phone call, tap it again to play pause, or double tap, hang up, and then triple tap will go back a track, double tap on music will go forward. But then I can also tap and hold it. So like when you texted me earlier, I got this little alert. It's like, text message from Matthew Shaw. Would you like to read it? Or would you like to have it, read to you? Hold this. And so I like press my little finger to it. And then it said like, your text message is like, hey, the earlier the better tonight, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, would you like to respond? Tap and hold and say your message and then let go. I was like, So I kind of tapped and held. I said, yes, that sounds great. Whatever. Blah. I said, blah, 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 blah. And I let go and it's like, if you'd like to re-record, do this. If you'd like to do this, do this. And then if I just don't touch it, it's like, boop, message sent. And I was like, I didn't even have to take my phone out of my pocket to click the little microphone button to talk to it, to get it to. I was like, oh, okay. Here's the only thing. I'm going to have some problems with some weird texts if I do this way too much. Because you know how sometimes even if you like press the little like microphone thing and you like speak your text message out, it will sometimes misinterpret a word or here or there and change something, and you can get some weird stuff in there, but you're looking at it, so you can, in theory, catch yourself before you send a really weird text message to someone. If I'm just doing this off my earbuds, off these Pixel Buds, and I'm not even looking at it, I'd like to just apologize to anyone I may text with some weird stuff in the future, because that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm really excited by them. Like, I haven't used them a ton. I'm looking forward to giving them a full day's test tomorrow to really kind of check out some battery life and stuff. But
yeah, nice.
Yeah, real good. And of course, more Fall Guys. I'm streaming on Twitch. I streamed on Twitch a bunch this week, twitch.tv/FordofNerds79. It was nothing but Fall Guys. I've got 40 wins now.
Wow.
We're trying to work on that old 5 wins in a row, because that's the last trophy I need for your boy to get that old platinum trophy. So I think it'll happen. It's just going to be a matter of a little bit of luck and skill and the stars aligning just right.
Wow.
So anyway, that's my week. Lot going on, but we got a lot to get to tonight. So Matt, I think it's time for us to kill some Bothans.
Let's do it.
I always have to let you know, many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Rest in peace, you Bothans.
All right, Matt, Bothans have been killed.
Yay!
We have slaughtered them once again. And we got some Rebel intelligence. What do you have for me this week?
I've actually got some stuff on the Switch. Nintendo's been shockingly, and dare I say inappropriately, quiet since Animal Crossing. I think they're just letting PS5 and Xbox Series X figure things out this year, and then they'll push forward. And you know what I say? They don't really care because they're selling like a mother effer right now. So they're like, we don't even need new games apparently because we're just selling consoles without putting anything out.
That's true. They're going like crazy.
So, but this is, we've got a new report exclusive to the Fortress of Nerditude and every single other gaming website.
Yeah, exactly right.
So, allegedly, there is a new Switch console coming in 2021, Q1 of 2021 to be more precise. And the report, I'm reading this exactly as it says from the report, claims to be informed by sources in the console supply chain, and they say that the new version of the Nintendo Switch will feature improved interactivity and a better quality display. So there's nothing about battery life in this exactly, or any of the other hardware type changes. I can tell you what that interactivity probably means. What do you think it means?
They're probably just going to improve on the Joy-Cons a little bit.
Some extra, I don't know.
Well,
the HD Rumble's already pretty impressive. I don't know.
It is, but like the left Joy-Con gets the drift issue quite a lot.
Oh yeah, it sucks.
I know they've worked to improve on that some, but I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of like retool some of the software and the hardware interface to just improve upon that, and then call that like the interactivity update or something like that. That would
we might see that. I would not be. I think this is kind of the Switch Pro model that everyone's been kind of rumoring about for the last year or so. I think that it's going to be like a decent incremental update for the hardware as well. I think we will see changes to the Joy-Cons in the way that I think we'll see adaptive triggers. I see them showing off a game like Zelda and announcing this new Switch and saying, look, you can feel the tension from the bow, and kind of like what PlayStation's advertising right now with their PS5, with their new DualSense controllers. So either way, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to buy it. And I definitely would like a higher resolution, better screen. So I'm all in. I hope that it's true. I hope we get it in early 2021. That's pretty cool. That would be pretty great, actually. And better timing than trying to put it out this holiday season. I think that they're smart to wait a little bit.
Yeah, staying away from holiday season, I think, is a crucial thing right now. Here's the only thing. I like the idea of like a Switch Pro, some like, even beefier version. But come out with a game that's designed to run on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Breath of the Wild is going to be, the second one could take advantage of this, or Metroid Prime 4 or whatever, where they say you can play it on the old Switch. Just like when Breath of the Wild came out, they're like, you can play it on the Wii U. It just sucks on the Wii U compared to what you can do
but
on
it's
the Switch.
Designed to run the best on the Switch Pro or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not gonna call it the Switch Pro. They're gonna call it something like the Switch Ultra or Switch XL.
Switch
That's
XL.
what they're gonna call it. They're gonna call it the Switch XL.
Works with their branding.
Oh, I hate that so much, but it's so on the nose.
Yep.
So but they sell it that way. I mean,
it could happen. Know. Attach it to a big title, and you got something.
Yeah.
I think. I
mean, I wouldn't buy it for Metroid. That's me. I'm not a Metroid guy, really.
Yeah.
But if you said, here's Breath of the Wild 2, and it's optimized to run on the Switch XL, and if you get it on the Switch XL in a console bundle, blah, 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 we're also going to give you this in-game thing, like some sort of carrot, right?
Right.
I would be dropping them ducats down hard to get it.
Yep.
So,
Yep. We'll see
Okay.
how smart they are, or if they're continuing to be stupid and not listen to their customers again. Nintendo.
Well, we'll wait till early 2021 to see how those rumors pan out.
Yep.
Okay, Matt, we've talked in the past about how Sony has the rights to Spider-Man, but they're working with Marvel so that Spider-Man can be in MCU movies, and part of that agreement was that the MCU is going to kind of help out with the Spider-Man movies in the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters, which we referred to as Spunk, if you remember.
Yep.
Well, inside of Spunk, it is being teased now of a potential Spider-Woman film. Now, we've heard about Venom 2, which just kind of seems like a foregone conclusion. We've heard that there could be a Sinister Six movie, that there could be some sort of news into the Spider-Verse, but apparently Deadline is reporting that Olivia Wilde has closed a deal to direct and develop a Marvel film project revolving around a female character in the universe. Now, it's not entirely confirmed. However, it's been talked about heavily for a while of a Spider-Woman film, and that kind of seems to go with other things that there's some other sources that have been talking about as well. We know that after the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Gwen became a huge commodity, and they're talking about some sort of maybe Spider-Gwen project, maybe a spin-off, maybe it's animated, maybe it's going to be live action, but it looks like for right now, Olivia Wilde is looking to direct and develop a Spider-Woman film for Spunk. How do you feel about that, Matt?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. First of all, I didn't know there was any such thing as Spider-Woman. And second of all, I didn't know Olivia Wilde could direct things, or if she's ever directed anything prior to this. I don't know what her track record is.
She wrote and directed in her directorial debut a film in 2019 called Booksmart. It was like some comedy. It won like the Independent Spirit Award. It was pretty small, but also Amy Pascal is going to be on board to produce the Spider-Woman. And Amy Pascal was the person that kind of came on board to do some of the Spider-Man properties over at Sony, and kind of she was really kind of helpful in getting Spider-Man over to the MCU.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, this news doesn't excite me in any way. Just kind of at first glance, if Spider-Man is going to be in it.
Yeah, we don't know anything about the story yet.
If Tom Holland is in it, I'm excited. Or if they weave in, I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know anything about Spider-Woman, so this has not yet piqued my interest.
So you saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse,
Yes.
though, right? I thought Spider-Gwen was a great character.
Yeah.
And I think we're in this age right now where, I don't know, like we're going to get She-Hulk, right?
Right.
We got the Black Widow movie coming out.
Yeah.
I think it's about time we see more of some of the amazing women. I mean, like Wonder Woman was such a great film, and like I think we need more of that. And I think it would be nice to see. I mean, Captain Marvel, but I didn't really care for that movie, if I'm being completely honest. I think it's time to see more of these bad A women of Marvel in movies. So yeah. I'm down with it.
I don't have a problem with it. I'm excited. I mean, Emmy has been into The Incredibles lately.
Ooh, yeah.
She'd never seen The Incredibles. I don't remember if I talked about this last week or not, but we do our family movie every Sunday. And she found her way to The Incredibles and was like, I want to watch this. And we were like, I don't even know if you would like this, because this is like superhero stuff, and it's not like cute pets or, anthropomorphic dogs or anything. So anyway, she's been obsessed with The Incredibles. Obsessed. Like,
awesome.
she watched it and she looked at us and she said, what can I be for Halloween? We're like, Emmy, you can be whatever you want. She's like, okay, I want to be Incredibles. And she's like, Dad, you're going to be Frozone and Mom's going to be Elastigirl and, little
So
Jack
she gonna be
is
Violet?
Lando and she wants to be Violet. And so she's like all in, which totally shocked me. But now that I think about it, maybe it shouldn't shock me. She watches me play Spider-Man. She watched me play Ghost of Tsushima. Maybe I'm a bad dad, probably, but she's all about it.
I like how she doesn't let you be Mr. Incredible. You've got to be Frozone.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was like, I like Frozone, and she's like, okay, well, that's it. You don't get to be Mr.
That's
Incredible.
it, you Dad. Yeah.
You get to be Frozone. Maybe it's because I wear blue all the time.
Honey, where is my super suit? You left it. I said, where is my super suit?
Awesome. So yeah, she needs some superheroes to look up to. She's got Violet, so that's all she really needs right now. But anyway, it's cool. Yeah, I say good for Sony. I'm interested to see where this goes because I love Spider-Man so much, and a spider-centric universe is cool. If they don't completely,
it's got to be good. It's got to be good. Come on, Spunk.
I know.
Spunk's got to do it right.
So, speaking of things that sometimes are good and sometimes are bad, let's go to the Game Awards.
Okay.
Now, for me, the Game Awards have become like something I get really, really excited about. And it's half ironically and half unironically. So there's a part of me that's like legitimately excited to see what games win and what world premieres we have, because they've done such a good job lately of getting this to be a thing that a lot, millions of people watch. And then the other half is I can't wait to see all the cringe that happens, because every game developer, they're typically not incredible public speakers. So the awkwardness of most of the interviews or the speeches when they win, it's out of this world amazing. When Joel McHale went up 2 years ago, the night Super Smash Brothers came out, Joel McHale, who's a cool dude, right?
Yeah.
And he's announcing a winner for the e-gamer of the year. And it's this guy called Sonic Fox, who's a furry. And he comes up on the stage and Joel McHale is just flabbergasted. I can't believe this is a real thing. This guy's walking up to me in a furry head and talking about video games. I don't know why I did this. I should not have taken the paycheck. But the awkwardness is amazing. So the Game Awards is a lot of fun, at least for me. And it's going to continue 2020. So we are not getting any cancellation. What's his name? Jeff Keighley or whatever?
Jeff Keighley, yeah.
Yeah, he scoffed. He's like, people are asking me if we're going to do it because, the Oscars is canceling and postponing. Everybody's postponing. He says, no, we're not postponing. We're definitely doing it. There is no doubt. We already have plans. We'll tell you more about it in the coming months and weeks. But it's definitely going to happen. And he says, of course, just like The Bachelor says, the most dramatic season yet. This is supposed to be the biggest Game Awards yet.
Oh, wow.
So I love
a little
it.
drama for your mama. Listen to that guy.
I know. I'm excited for it. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I always get let down by the games that get announced. I'm like, oh, that sucks. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
But it's still
Come
a
on,
lot of fun.
Bug Snacks.
Yes. Oh gosh, please give me gameplay of Bug Snacks. Anyway, so that's still happening. So look forward to that. And usually it's in December, early December, we get the Game Awards. So it'll be interesting. There's a lot of great games that came out this year that I am interested to see. What titles win what, because we've got some good competition, I think.
Oh gosh, I totally forgot. Thinking about games and the Game Awards, and thinking about how December. That's something to look forward to in December. I was thinking about how August has been just a fun month for games, mainly because of Fall Guys. But last week, I watched a bunch of Tim the Tap Man. He's one of he's a very, very well-known Twitch streamer, and he's been playing Fall Guys, and he's been playing it for a week, trying to get his first win. And normally he has 20 to 30,000 people watching him. He peaked when he got his first win finally at 347,000 people watching him. something like 1.2 million unique viewers had popped in and out throughout that day.
Wow.
He had something like, I don't know, like 2,000 subs. I mean, when he got it, just people were subbing all over the place. Anyway, it was something that, like, he was super competitive, and he was just trashing this game. He was like, this is a game made for 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't get a win. It was so exciting and so entertaining. And it was just like one of those things where, like, the drama was just built into it. And I'm just thinking of Jeff Keighley and talking about the Game Awards, and it made me remember that I'd watched that last week, because for some reason that seems like weeks and weeks ago, but it was only a couple days ago. Anyway, speaking of something, though, completely that seems like weeks, if not months, if not years ago, Netflix's Stranger Things.
Oh, gosh.
So
I'm never going to get it.
If you remember, season 3 ended, I don't know, in 2019, somewhere it came out.
July 4th, man.
Around the 4th of July, right? And if you remember back in February, Matt, we got that little teaser trailer for Stranger Things Season 4, and they show that Hopper is alive in Russia somewhere, right? Well, the interesting thing is that Season 4 hasn't finished filming. Because of the pandemic, they had to, stop filming, shut down production, and they're just kind of hanging out. And the Duffer Brothers had said a while ago that Season 4 is the last season. But apparently just this last week, Ross Duffer, one of the Duffer Brothers, told The Hollywood Reporter Season 4 won't be the end. They know how they want to end their show. They know how they want to get there. They know when that's going to happen. But apparently with all this extra time, they've had a lot more time to write, because they've always said that they just didn't want to get to a point where Netflix is shelling out so much money, and so they just take a big paycheck and then just churn out something just to kind of keep the show going. Like they have an idea of what they want it to do and how they want to tell a certain story and how they want to end it. But now that more time has gone by and they've had time to go back and to kind of rewrite some of Season 4 because of all this time and they still have stuff to shoot, that now they're writing and there's going to be a Season 5. Of course, we don't know anything about when that's going to be. Heck, they still have to finish filming Season 4 and get that out. But Matt Duffer even said, we know the ending, we know how it is, we're not going to keep turning it out. But, we've got stuff.
Yeah.
And then Ross Duffer said Season 4 is not going to be the end. So if I'm just reading between the lines here, I think that we're definitely going to be getting a 5th season of Stranger Things. That I think that they've had extra time to write and to sit and to talk and to plan things out so that they can do it in a way that they can continue telling the stories they're working on for Season 4 and still give us potentially a Season 5, if not, maybe a little bit more. Who knows?
Yeah, this is awesome. Expected by me. Expected, honestly. I never thought Season 4 would be the last season. No. They've gone... The Duffers have waffled a lot. I don't know if they talk to each other. One says one thing, the other says something else. They're vague about it, and then Season 4 is the end. They're like, or is it? And now they're like, it's not. I think we get at least 6 seasons. I just don't see them leaving it. Oh gosh, let's hope. Let's hope. I think we get at least 6 seasons of Stranger Things. If they've got that much time. And then all this writing makes me hopeful that there's a quicker turnaround from 4 to 5 than there has been between seasons so far. It's just been, it feels like it's a long time. And in comparison to other shows, it is a long time. So let's hope, cross our fingers that we get, a quicker turnaround and that Season 4 happens before the end of 2021. Good grief. But that's awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. That was the last thing I had, though.
Yeah, I'm out too.
Okay. Matt, last week we had an episode where we talked about movies. We specifically talked about tearjerker movies that make us cry. That one was a good one. That's special. I re-listened to it after I edited it, and I was like, yep. If you know me, you probably saw the train coming down the tracks, and you're like, yeah, this is where this is going to go. It's like it's going to, how does it not go that way? Anyway, but we asked the Super Friends, what is a movie that makes you cry? Because we wanted to hear from you. And we got a lot of answers. And so I'm going to condense one of the emails, the email that we have this week, because the email from Peter Christensen, I want to say, is a wonderfully written email with tons of stuff. He goes into some more detail about the whole Epic versus Apple with the iOS and Fortnite. Just some greater detail, some stuff that kind of helped me get like even greater perspective and appreciation for like how the situation's going down. This email of its own probably deserves an entire episode. There's just a lot to unpack here. So I'm going to read the stuff that really pertains to the question, and then we're going to answer the other questions. Then we're going to move on because we got a lot going on. This is a jam-packed episode 196 tonight. So, starting over on email like we always do, fordofnerd@gmail.com. We have Peter Christensen. He says, Dear Nerds, I love a good emotional supercut video. Two of the favorites in our house are called Meet the Heroes and Meet the Villains. They mix great music and clips of great heroes and villains from movie history. I found another one this week called Decade in Film by Screen Junkies. It combines great moments from memorable movies from the 2010s, and boy, have there been some great moments in the 2000s. Then jumping down, he says, you guys are total jerks for doing a tearjerker episode. I totally cry during movies, much more than my wife, but I rarely cry in real life. I also rarely cried at movies as a kid. This definitely has been a change since my kids were born. I got a kick out of hearing Spencer's voice get more and more ragged throughout the episode. I can tell you were feeling it. Here are a bunch of movies from my collection, grouped by my three main categories of crying: sacrifice, confronting pain and healing, and encouragement and inspiration. All of the great war movies fit into all of the categories. You know the ones. Sacrifice, Infinity War, the emotional crash from Thor's victorious entrance to seeing everyone crumble to dust. Also, during the fight on Titan, where everything is going terrible, and Spider-Man is trying to save everyone from the moon attack, and he says, I'm sorry, I can't remember anybody's name. Endgame, not Tony's funeral, but Tony's I am Iron Man, and snapping to save the universe, knowing he will die in the process. Big Hero 6, when Tadashi goes back into the burning building to save Professor Callahan. Lord of the Rings, of course, the scene you mentioned, but also Theoden's charge in the last ride of the Rohirrim. Iron Giant, not so much that I cry, but Elliot Kalin of the Flophouse podcast tells a great story. He said that this is the first time he watched it with his wife. He warned her that he was going to cry. Afterwards, she said, I didn't think you were going to cry that much. Rogue One, the sacrifice of K2SO, Chirrut, Baz, Bodhi, and more to make sure the mission is completed. And then Inside Out, Bing Bong. And so those were his crying moments for sacrifice movies. For confronting pain and healing, this is The Fountain. It's a weird and easy movie to miss. It's easy to miss the symbolism, but at the end, his mind and heart crash together when he realizes that in the heroic struggle to find a cure for his wife's condition, he missed the last time he had to be with her. Harry Potter, when Fred Weasley dies and George doesn't know what to do without him. Inception, when Cobb goes into limbo to try to resolve his guilt over Mal, and so that Fisher can heal with his dad. Only the Brave, when Donut walks into the cafeteria at the end, and everyone there realizes that their husband or father isn't the one that survived. Thank You for Your Service, when Tsulo, who has traumatic brain injury, says he hopes his pregnant girlfriend has a son, so he can name it after him, to guarantee he won't forget his child's name. The Other Side of Heaven, when Finau dies. Up, I don't have to even explain this, he says. Encouragement and inspiration. Lean on Me, Hidden Figures, Soul Surfer, Spare Parts, 17 Miracles, Wonder. All of these have too many inspiring moments to list. WALL-E, the space dance WALL-E and Eve do is so beautiful. Ratatouille, Anton Ego's flashback to his childhood. Moana, when her grandmother's spirit comes back to encourage her when she's at her lowest point. Rudy, numerous times, laying out of the jerseys, the senior building the chant, etc. But when Jon Favreau points at the field and says, he's so little, it breaks the dam every time. Pearl Harbor, too many to count, especially when they all step forward to volunteer. the triage scene at the hospital, and holding the hands as the ship floods. And then The Other Side of Heaven 2. I sobbed like a baby when Koli Poki met Feki again. Feki's one of my ideals of a beautiful, generous, Christ-like friend. And then Peter gives some really great personal stories about when he cried that unfortunately we don't have time to get into. But I just want to say, Peter, thank you so much for your email. It was wonderful. And I appreciate it. Let's jump over to Facebook, facebook.com/FortofNerd. We have Jeffrey Shipner. He says, Big Fish got me. So there's someone else, Matt, that likes the old Big Fish and cries at that. Blake Forsland, who is my boss, says, The Art of Racing in the Rain. Kenneth Hadley says, Marley and Me. I'm not a dog person, but I've heard that from a lot of people that Marley and Me's
that's a big
pretty rough. Jennifer Knowles says The Green Mile.
Yeah, okay.
And I know a lot of people that have cried at The Green Mile. Yep. Chad Fackler, hashtag super listener Chad Fackler, says, I know I'm too late. Nope, Chad, you're not too late. He says, But We Were Soldiers made me bawl.
I have yet to see that one. That's Mel Gibson, yeah?
Yep, that's Mel Gibson. I have yet to see it either.
That's on my YouTube TV. I've got a ton of these movies on YouTube TV
I've heard
lists.
good things. Tim Paulin agrees. He says that's a great movie. Patrick Novacell says The Notebook.
I get that, please, man. I cried all that crap movie stuff. I'm in.
Craig Tornquist says, I'm probably weird, but Infinity War and Endgame have moments that make me cry.
You're not weird. That was one of mine, and Peter also mentioned it. So that's 3 weird people who like to cry at superhero movies.
So therefore, by the rule of 3, it's not weird.
No, not weird anymore.
Not weird anymore. It was, but then you said it, and it's the third person, so
yeah, we're good.
Yep. Over on Twitter at Fort of Nerd, we've got L Mike O at Giz Pika. He says, Up, of course. Toy Story 4 wrecked me so hard. Endgame 2, but it's happy tears. Hardball, R.I.P. G-Baby. And recently, Jojo Rabbit got me, too.
Oh, Jojo did, huh? Jojo, there's some hard moments in Jojo. Yeesk.
Is there?
Yeah, there's some tough spots.
I've yet to see that.
Yo, dude, come on. Taika Waititi and freaking Scarlett Johansson? Like, what are you doing with your life?
Playing too much Fall Guys, Matt. That's what I'm doing with my life.
Take a night off and watch JoJo. It's so worth it.
But I can't.
So
those
great.
jelly bean guys need
so
me.
So cute.
Okay, Tim Paulin at TPaulin20 says, a couple of teary-eyed views, Marley and Me, Schindler's List, The Green Mile, all for different reasons, hits me hard in the feels. And he says, special mention to We Were Soldiers, which my dad says most accurately depicted what he experienced in the Vietnam War.
Oh, okay. Now I want to watch it more.
And the thing is, like, I've talked it to Tim a lot. Tim's a good friend and a super friend, of course. And I get from the conversations I've had with Tim, his dad probably doesn't talk a lot about the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
That's just my, I may be wrong, but that was the impression that I got. So the fact that if his dad's saying We Were Soldiers is the very accurate depiction of what he experienced there, probably means that, it's pretty right on the money.
Right.
Bernabe Butters at Dante_Belmont says, besides every Pixar movie, Dead Poets Society tears me up. He says also another one, Legends of the Fall.
I haven't seen that.
That was Brad Pitt way back in the day.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. Mr. Pastor Lucas Ham at MTTG Brazilian Team says, every movie that reminds me of the joys and struggles of life, pretty much every Pixar movie. The final scene and passing of the torch in Toy Story 3, and also the touching family moments in Coco, especially the final song, Remember Me, hits me in the feels every single time. And that is so true. Like, that last, when Dante comes back from the land of the dead, and he sings Remember Me to Mama Coco to try to get her to remember Hector, her father. Ooh, that does get me too. That really does get me every single time. I don't know what it is, man. I love that movie. Going over to our Discord, Matt.
Hey,
here's one I don't think you were expecting. Over on our Discord, Alteric says, as a kid, when the third Toy Story movie came out, he says, I struggle with Toy Story 3 because I have a hard time letting go of things I grew up with and have fond memories of. I get it,
man. I get that.
Letting go is hard, and Toy Story 3, I think those jerks knew what they were doing all along. They were like, how can we get the big, cold-hearted nerds to cry? Yes.
Yep.
And they figured it out. Anyway, Super Friends, thank you so much for coming through. Lots of great responses. There's some things I now need to probably check out because of these recommendations, but also realizing that I'm probably going to cry, so, time to have the old tissue box near me and, talk about how there's so much dust in the air.
Yeah.
Matt, how can our Super Friends help us this week?
Well, as always, thank you for your responses. You can't see me, but I'm doing the prayer hands and the nod to thank you and show my appreciation for your responses and interaction with us. It means a lot. It's our favorite part.
I just thought you were preparing for a role in the next Karate Kid television show. Okay,
yeah,
sure.
Man, season 3 Cobra Kai. You don't even know. Anyway, thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you for listening and telling your friends and family about it. This week, because you all cried this last week, do yourself a favor. And I don't know if I've asked you to do this yet because it's one of my favorite movies of all time and perhaps the greatest movie of all time. Open up Disney Plus and watch Ben Stiller in his greatest role in Heavyweights and just laugh your freaking butt off. Just enjoy what life is. And enjoy Ben Stiller as Tony Perkis and the Perkis system. That's my assignment. I'm going to do it.
Okay. Well, report back to us next week, Matthew.
Oh, I will.
Let us know. Matt, this last week, this weekend, Saturday, was it? Saturday.
Yeah, it's like Friday, Saturday.
There was an event that happened that we haven't talked about because we're going to talk about it now. And this event was one that I was kind of leery on. I'm talking about the DC Fandome. When we heard that DC was skipping Comic-Con, or the virtual Comic-Con that happened, because they were going to hold their own event, I kind of went, oh, DC, once again, like, Marvel's not showing up. Why not show up and, show a thing or two that's going to blow everyone away and be like the king of Comic-Con, because this is your year to do that. This is your year to shine. Yeah. Instead, they said, we're going to host our own one-day event. And I went, this is just a bad idea. Matt, I am so happy to say I am wrong. And I couldn't be more happy that I am wrong.
I agree. I couldn't be more happy that you were wrong and that I was wrong and that they did this on their own, because it worked way better than I think even if they were at Comic-Con, because Comic-Con sucked.
Yeah.
We talked about it. It was terrible. There was nothing that happened. Now we have to have a whole podcast just for the discussion to be what happened with DC, because so much happened and it was all good stuff. Like good freaking news, cool things. So I am all in.
I'm just gonna say that I enjoyed everything that I saw. There was a few smaller things that I kind of went okay,
whatever.
I'm not making up my mind. But of all the big things that they released and they showed off, which there is a lot, and we will cover it tonight. I fully am anticipating that DC is going to be coming back in a major way. And it just feels like, from the hype, from the buzz, from the hyperbole, from everything, it feels like DC is positioned to finally take the center stage the way they should have been taking center stage a long time ago, and making a real race out of this. I mean, Marvel's had it's uncontested. Marvel's just killing it in the MCU, just killing it. and DC's been struggling. However, this makes me hopeful for the future. So, let's jump into this, Matt. I'm going to let you take your pick of anything on our list to start because we got a lot. So you pick where you want to start talking about stuff. We'll talk about it and then we'll just like keep going every other until we're out of all the big stuff.
All right. I don't want to go huge yet.
Okay, start small. Let's build.
I'll start a little bit. I'll go with the... Oh, gosh, so many good things. Okay, so let's talk the Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
That's your small thing to start with?
I mean, it's not what I would consider the big things.
I actually think this is actually one of the bigger things. Okay, no, go.
They're
this
all
is
big.
good. Okay, let's talk
There's
about
like 6 of them, and they're
Suicide
all
Squad,
huge.
Kill the Justice League, go.
Okay, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Look, we all know I'm newish to figuring out video games, and so I don't pay all the attention in the world to announcements of games. I did not know that this was a thing until this weekend, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Long story short, this game by Rocksteady looks freaking awesome.
Yep.
It looks really very, 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 very cool. And it has characters that weren't in the first Suicide Squad movie, that weren't part of the Suicide Squad, that are going to be in this game, that are going to also be in the new movie that's coming out. And this was, obviously, it was not a gameplay trailer. This was a cinematic introduction into what these characters are going to be doing. And it gave me this feel of awesomeness. And I was like, oh, cool. They're like having to come together. And just like in Suicide Squad, where they're like roped together and they have to help if they want to get their sentences shortened or whatever. So it's kind of familiar, and you're like, okay, this looks like it could be a fun game. And then all of a sudden, they're talking about like the alpha target, or, you know, how's that going, kind of a thing. And they're like, we don't even know who it is, what's going on. And then you figure out, long story short, at the end of the trailer, that their target is Superman.
Yes.
You're like, and all of them are like, oh, shit.
Yeah, like we gotta, how are we gonna do this?
Yeah. So I thought it was awesome.
I love this. So the interesting thing is Rocksteady made the Batman Arkham Knight video game, but that was like 2015. So they haven't done kind of anything since then. I mean, but Batman Arkham Knight was an excellent, excellent game. So the fact that we're kind of going back to a DC property is exciting. When I actually heard a leak about this about a week ago, but it was very rumor-esque.
Yeah.
And they said there's going to be a Suicide Squad video game. And let's be honest, Super Friends, we all know how that Suicide Squad movie came out, and we all know how much I am not a fan of that. And I went, I don't want to see this. Like, I don't want to see game. And then we got this thing and it says Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I went, wait a minute, okay.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing is, how do you do a video game that you're going to be playing as anti-heroes or just out and outright villains? Mm-hmm. And your mission is going to be to kill superheroes. Now, most people want to be Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. But now the game is going to try to force you to say, like, your job is to kill those characters. And I think on the surface, if it was just that straightforward, from a narrative perspective, players aren't going to want to do that.
Right.
So, what do? They introduce the concept that Brainiac, the super-powered AI, has found a way to control the Justice League, to control the superheroes, so that they are not behaving like superheroes. Instead, they are acting like supervillains. They're wantonly killing people. They're destroying things. And that their godlike powers are such a threat now to humanity that the Justice League has to come together. The Suicide Squad has to come together to try to stop the Justice League and kill them before they destroy, take over the world. Which all of a sudden, from a narrative perspective, Matt, gets really exciting because you're like, ooh, now you're playing, even though you're the bad guy, you're kind of the anti-hero, you're playing against this subverted expectation that you're not really going after the superhero versions of these, but kind of like the mirror universe, dark side, the villainous versions of these. That is really cool. I love that concept.
I'm all in. I thought it was cool. It reminded me, because we just recently watched this, Incredibles 2. Yep. Where they're controlling these superheroes for a very short period of time in that movie, but similar to that, where you could tell Superman wasn't actually Superman.
Right.
Anyway, I thought this looked great. The only complaint I had was Harley Quinn's voice. I thought that was awful. It was grating. It was terrible. I hated it, but everything else was great.
Her voice to me kind of seemed on par with the voice acting in some of the other DC games where Harley Quinn's been there. I'd have to look it up and see if it's the same actress. It's definitely not Margot Robbie.
Mm-mm.
And so I think right now everyone's got Margot Robbie on the brain when it comes to Harley Quinn. But yeah, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, King Shark, and Captain Boomerang, along with, I don't know, whoever else, are going to be going after the Justice League. So this game's supposed to be kind of loosely inspired by a 2017 comic book miniseries. So it's not complete, like the story is not going to be completely original and unique. It's loosely based on an existing property, but it's going to be coming to PC and consoles in 2022. So depending on when in 2022, we're talking 16 months away, or we're talking like 28 months away. Like, who knows?
Right.
So a little over a year, or like 2.5 years. Who knows? Oh, that's a good one, Matt. I love that one. Okay, so I'm going to start small. And I'm going to talk about the Flash movie.
Okay.
So the Flash is an amazing, like, he's quickly becoming recently like one of my favorite DC characters. Barry Allen is, I mean, he's this character who gets struck by lightning, and he gets the super speed, gets the super speed. He becomes a speedster, uses the speed force. He also witnessed his mother being murdered, and his father was put in jail for the murder, even though Barry continues to insist his dad was not the killer, and that it was someone who, zipped into the room, did the deed, and then got out real fast. But the cool thing about the Flash is not only can he go fast, but he can move around in time. Because of how fast he is, he can go forward in time, he can go backwards in time. So that really makes some really interesting scenarios. But even more than that, in his comics, in the television show that has been out, and now coming to this movie that's still being worked on, that's going to have Ezra Miller in it. This has kind of been on the back burner for a little bit. They've been trying to get it going. It's going to be, kind of like his background story somewhat, but it's also going to be Flashpoint. And Flashpoint is this event that's a huge event in the DC universe, where because of decisions that he makes to try to go back and correct things in time, he ends up like creating alternate, not even creating, but more like tying alternate timelines together. And because of this like crossover event that happens, he can see these other timelines, and the other timelines can bleed through. So the interesting thing about this is we saw in the last season of The Flash, the television show, which The Flash is played by Grant Gustin, there was this big crossover event, and it was Anyway, because of this, Ezra Miller's version, the film version of The Flash, met the television version of The Flash, which has never happened before. Mm-hmm. Okay? Here's the thing, though. We know that Ben Affleck is out as Batman. He's done. He's not making any more movies.
Right.
We're gonna talk about the movie The Batman and kind of the direction of that character in the DCEU. Except it's now been confirmed that Ben Affleck is going to be reprising his role as Batman in the Flash movie. And so is Michael freaking Keaton. Michael freaking Keaton. We're going to get 2 different versions of Batman here. I'm really thinking we're actually going to get 2 different versions of a lot of characters potentially. Okay, so like we're going to get that. I would love to not only see like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, but if we could show Linda Carter's version of like Wonder Woman and like what she may be doing now. Even if it's just like a little cameo, just a tip, a little nod, a little wink. Okay, like that would be amazing. I love the fact that because they're doing this Flashpoint, because they're bringing these things together, like A, they're still going forward with the Flash movie, but B, Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, because Michael Keaton was kind of like the Batman who'd been around for a little while. Yeah. He'd maybe been doing it for maybe like 5-8 years, something like that. Like that's kind of the impression you kind of get with the Michael Keaton Batman movies. It's not necessarily like an origin story about like how he became Batman.
Right.
Whereas like Ben Affleck's version of Batman in Batman v Superman and in Justice League, he's been Batman for 20 years at this point. So he's the older version of Bruce Wayne, Batman. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this is exciting news. I'm super excited. We still don't know when this movie's actually going to come out because they're still trying to work on it. But Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck reprising the roles is huge news. I'm super excited about it. We already met Grant Gustin's version of the TV show of The Flash. There's so much good stuff here, Matt. Like no release date, no title. It's probably just going to be called The Flash, but it's getting exciting. I mean, that Crisis on Infinite Earths, Flashpoint, yes, I love The Flash.
I think that's awesome. And I'm glad that you like it.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about The Flash other than what I've seen in, let's see, what's he been in? The Justice League?
He was in Justice League and he had a cameo in Batman v Superman.
Oh, gosh. Help me forget that
Speaking of the Justice League, because of the Fandome event, I actually watched the Justice League movie last night with Brita. She'd never seen it. And she said, this was better than my expectations. I said, yes, it's definitely better than my expectations as well. Mm-hmm. And I loved seeing Ezra Miller in that. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
He's great. He's the best part of the movie almost. I think this is really cool. I'm excited and also still a little nervous for DC. I mean, all this stuff is really great, and we'll talk more about even bigger and cool things. And I am excited. I think now is a great time for them to strike because Marvel's there's not a lot, I feel like, happening with Marvel right now. They're kind of entering their phase 17, phase we're in.
No, phase 4.
Yeah.
The problem is with Marvel is like they've got some films that are already in the can waiting to go, and until they release the first one, they can't start doing any press or anything on the next one. And the way these stories tie together and the Disney Plus shows, like they're literally in a holding pattern right now. DC doesn't have that problem where like because they don't have continuity. Okay, so that, yes, it's a problem for the MCU, but it's also a good problem to have because they've got all this continuity, all these tie-in things. Yep. They've got this much more established world. That's why these movies make billions of dollars and the DC ones don't yet. But that does give DC an opportunity, you're right now, to say, look, we can talk about all of this because none of it has to rely on this other thing happening first and then that thing happening and then so on and so forth.
Yep. Well, I'm excited for it. I hope it's good. I really do. We need another tentpole superhero for DC. I don't know how many times you can go back to the Batman well and come out rich. Yeah. So we need, and Wonder Woman has proven to be both lucrative and awesome. So they've got 2 real tent poles, and hopefully the other ones can make their way up. And I put Shazam as maybe their freaking best. That movie was excellent. Speaking of Shazam, yo, what a tie-in.
Oh, look at that.
They're making a second one. We knew that. All right, so they revealed the title to Shazam 2. Are you ready for this?
Electric Boogaloo?
Shazam, Fury of the Gods.
Ooh, that's a good sounding title.
Yeah, it sounds a little more serious, a little like there's some stuff that could happen in this.
Yeah.
And then you continue on. And my expectation shifted because I read that and I was like, I did the same reaction. I was like, oh, interesting. And then like, oh, P.S. it's going to star Sinbad. And then I was like, oh, so it's still going to be like silly.
Yeah.
I mean, Sinbad can't not be funny. And for those of you who don't know Sinbad, I understand why. If you didn't grow up like in the 90s, you probably have no idea who Sinbad is.
And he's been pretty much gone from the TV movie
totally
realm
dormant.
for a while. Yeah.
He's super funny. So look forward to that, yo. But I'm excited because this is more Shazam, more Zachary Levi as a superhero. So funny. The first one is so good. But I'm stoked to see how Sinbad fits in because it's not like it will. The movie or the synopsis doesn't say, it'll have Sinbad in it. It will star. It will feature Sinbad. So he will be a central character, not just kind of a let's throw him in there as some, nobody. But anyway, that's the news out of Shazam.
I love Shazam.
Yeah,
man. And even though this isn't like a major thing, and I didn't actually put this on, we got a trailer. Well, we got like an animated, somewhat story for Black Adam with The Rock, which is interesting because Black Adam is like one of like the arch nemesis of Shazam. And so
they both got the lightning thing. I noticed that. And I was like, what's going on here? But now I see.
Thematically, their suits look very similar.
Yes.
But what's interesting though about that and Shazam 2 is like, I think they're trying to lay the groundwork, Shazam 2, now we're going to get a Black Adam. Then we could probably get like a Shazam versus Black Adam type of movie. Yeah. Like I think they're slow playing this one. They're not trying to like jam it all together and make it happen like they did with Justice League, where they're like,
right.
And we didn't have a full Batman movie. We had a full Superman, a Batman Superman crossover. And now we're going to toss in Wonder Woman and the Flash and Cyborg and everything. And let's just have the freaking Justice League and let's get it done. It's not like that. I feel like the Shazam thing, they're slow building. Anyway. Okay. Here's the next thing I have. This is also, I think, a little on the smaller side, yet still really, really cool. This is another video game. It's called Gotham Knights. Knights with a K. This is kind of in the Batman Arkham video game saga. It's done by Warner Brothers Montreal. They're the ones that did the Arkham prequel spinoff, Arkham Origins. Here's the interesting thing. Right off the bat, you find out Batman is dead in this video game. There's been some sort of earthquake and explosion or something, and Bruce Wayne is dead. And he sends a video to his family / friends that hey, listen, if Gotham knows that Batman's gone and he's not seen, Gotham's gonna fall. That, gangsters, mobsters, villains, they're gonna go crazy knowing that the Batman's gone. He says, look, when this was happening, I detonated the Batcave, but I still left you a whole bunch of stuff with suits and some a little bit older tech, but still stuff that'll work, and you need to protect Gotham. And this game, you're going to have the options to play as Nightwing, Red Hood, Red Robin, and Batgirl. And apparently the Bat family is going to take on the Court of Owls, which is kind of like this secretive faction that came around after the New 52 in 2011. And basically they're like these, I don't know, kind of like a cabal of these old Gotham families that are trying to rule Gotham. And so that they wear these owl masks on. And they basically try to run businesses and government offices, and they kind of they're kind of like the shadow puppets pulling strings and making people do stuff. And so it's going to be up to the Bat family to take them on. And they showed that Mr. Freeze was going to be in this thing. So I'm thinking that Freeze is in this. There's going to be Talon probably is in this. There's probably going to be some other bad guys. I mean, I'm going to guess that Arkham Asylum is going to come into it. So I don't know. Yeah. It looks good. I think it's definitely going to be a different game because it's going to be a Batman free game, but yet still feel like a Batman game because you're going to be using similar tech, similar things. It's going to feel and play like a lot of the others, but you're going to get to play with some expanded roles from some of the other characters in that kind of genre that kind of work with Batman. So it looks cool to me. I like it. I think it's probably going to be a well-received game, just on gameplay alone. Story looks interesting. I want to see a little bit more, but it looks very interesting to me.
Yeah, it looks interesting to me as well, now that I like video games again. No, this is cool. I mean, I didn't play any of the other... let me rephrase this. I've never played a Batman video game. So I am hopeful and looking. Obviously, you don't play as Batman in this particular video game,
right?
But I'm excited for these kind of Batman universe. Gotham City. I'm into Gotham City. I'm excited for these games. Both the Suicide Squad one and then this one as well. They both look solid. Yep. So I'm hopeful and optimistic, and also hoping that we don't have to wait 20 million years to play them. So. The thing is, we saw they did like a 15-minute, like in one of their press conferences, they did like a 15 or 20-minute gameplay demo. Oh, did they?
Yeah. So
I have to go check that out.
Yeah. So it's not just the trailer was the cinematic, but whereas we only got the cinematic for the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. This one, the Gotham Knights, had a lot of gameplay footage. Okay, and they were like, cool. You can do this, and you can do this, and this character has this, and this is going to look familiar, because Batman was able to do this. They went into a lot of it. They really kind of explained it out. So they're a lot further along, I think, in this game probably than the Suicide Squad game. Nice.
Okay. I'll have to go look that up, because I try to ignore games until I get a little bit of gameplay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I've got some news. Speaking of Suicide Squad, let's talk about and take a look at James Gunn's interpretation and vision for
Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Now, we got 2 trailers for this. Well, trailer teasers. Neither of them are really trailers. One of them was
almost like a documentary.
One of them was a character reveal trailer.
Yeah.
And then the other one was kind of a behind the scenes, interview-esque, we're not going to give anything away at all trailer.
Yeah, it's a sizzle reel. They want you to get excited by things going on, but they didn't really want to show you what's going on.
Exactly. So I'm going to read the cast.
Okay.
Because some of these are new. Some of them were rumored before. Some of them we knew already. Some of them you're going to be like, wait, what? That's how I was.
Right.
So we've got Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, Joel Kinnaman, Red Flag, Idris Elba as Bloodsport, Alice Braga as Solsaria, Pete Davidson as Blackguard, Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang, Nathan Fillion as TDK, Viola Davis reprising her role as Amanda Waller, Michael Rooker as Savant, John Cena as Peacemaker, Sean Gunn as Weasel, David Dastmalchian as Polka Dot Man, Peter Capaldi as the Thinker, and Storm Reed as Tyla. So that's a lot of people.
Yep.
And a lot of names that you'd most certainly recognize.
Yes.
And there's some that stick out that are interesting. I see Nathan Fillion and I'm like, oh, interesting.
It's Nathan Fillion. I'm going to watch it just on that alone.
Right. And then you're like, John Cena? Like the wrestler?
Yeah. He kind of looks like he plays kind of like a douchey version of Captain America.
Yeah, that's kind of how he described it in that That,
did he?
That trailer.
Okay.
He totally
yeah.
did. Those are like his words. He's like, I'm like a piece of crap version of Captain America. Like, I literally will do anything at any cost without any conscience. And a Captain America has a conscience, and I just do whatever.
Yeah, I can see him doing that for sure.
So we've got there is, at least from what I saw, I'm trying to go over this cast list because it goes on for hold on, we're not done yet. There's
and
more.
There's more. You say
Flula Borg as Javelin, Jennifer Holland as Amelia Harcourt. Oh, here we go. Mei Ling Nung as Mongol. And then let's see, Steve Agee as King Shark. That was one of the main ones that I missed. And then you can read the rest of them. Daniela Meltquire as Ratcheter 2. The cast is massive.
I don't know why we would need to read it because you just read it to us.
It was like, yeah, I know. There still are other roles I didn't read.
You just keep saying, like, you can go read this, but then here's some more I'm going to read to you. But you can go read
the ones in the trailer.
Some more I'm going to read to you again.
I wanted to make sure I got the ones in the trailer, and some of those weren't, and so I want to make sure I got them all.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I think you and I are both on the same page with David Ayer's 2016 Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it sucked.
It was a crap movie.
One of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It could have been so cool. DC shot itself in the foot.
Yeah.
It was bad. The only shining part of that was Harley Quinn with Margot Robbie. I mean, it had Will Smith as Deadshot in it.
Right.
It had Will freaking Smith. And it still was bad. Like, Will Smith can carry almost anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I freaking saw that Pursuit of Happiness like 3 times.
Yeah.
And that's a rough movie because it's just Will Smith. Okay. James Gunn's brought on to direct this thing. He signed on to do this, remember, when he was fired from Disney and not going to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because of tweets long ago. And then, a little bit of time went by and Disney, they're like, okay, we reconsider.
Yeah.
But he signed on to do this. Here's the thing, though, Matt. This is not a sequel.
No, not at all.
It's not a prequel.
Mm-mm.
It technically has nothing to do with Suicide Squad, the David Ayer 2016 movie, which was set in present day.
Yep.
This version, The Suicide Squad, is set in the 1970s.
Right.
Okay? So that's fine. But what for me starts getting a little muddy and a little weird is that Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, Viola Davis as Amanda Walker, Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang, Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag, like, they were all in that other film, and they're bringing them back because they're saying, like, we have these established characters. I don't know if they were, like, if they, like, put them under contract to reprise these roles or what, but for me, I get it. Margot Robbie was amazing. You could get rid of all the rest of whoever was in there and just keep Margot Robbie, but, like, you've got 4 people from that other film that are reprising the role that's going to take place 40 years in the past now, that's completely unrelated, standalone. It's that part of it to me feels really muddy and really confusing.
Yeah, and I disagree. I think this is the right move. To me, I think what they're trying to do, honestly, is just erase as if it never happened and keep the good parts. And I think that's the smart move. And I don't think anybody cares about the old Suicide Squad. I think it's literally a joke to everyone I've ever talked to about that movie. It's a joke. Nobody likes it that I know of. And I think keeping those characters, just because they were in a crappy version of the movie, it's not fair to those actors and actresses.
No. So you're absolutely right.
And to me, I don't know. I'm a simple man. It doesn't really bother me if you cast. I don't care.
Okay. How about this? Maybe I'll rephrase this. As long as they do not include in any way, shape, or form Joker and Batman in this movie, I'm okay with those 4.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the problem is, if they were to have Jared Leto reprise his role as the Joker, or Ben Affleck, because remember, Ben Affleck did make a cameo appearance in that Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah.
Which like really shocked me. I was like, oh, hey, it's Batman. I didn't expect that. And then he was gone. I was like, and that's why no one, leaked it, because it was a quick thing.
Right.
If those two do not have anything in this movie, like nothing, and it's just these four, and it's, even though it's not a technical reboot, but let's just call it a reset, maybe. Okay, fine. Like I'll get over it. It's going to seem a little weird, knowing that those actors did that other thing that's the same characters, but I can kind of get past that. But if they freaking try to tie in Jared Leto in any way, or Ben Affleck as Batman, Batfleck, then it's like, okay, wait a minute. The Batfleck has been in Batman v Superman, Justice League, that Suicide Squad movie. He's going to be in this flat. Like, no, you can't tie him into something that's 40 years in the future when he's been Batman for 20 years and then go back. Like, he's not even born. Okay, anyway, I'm just saying. Like, I'm off my high horse here on this.
James Gunn is smart, one of the great directors. I think I have way more hope and faith in this movie. One of the things, the first thing so Jesse, we watched this movie together, 5 years ago, whenever Suicide Squad came out. We went, this is crap. And Harley Quinn, while great, we both were like, she's dressed really slutty, just to put it straightforward. And when Jessie watched this trailer, she was like, oh my gosh, Harley Quinn looks cool now. Like, who's doing this movie? Because the costuming is so much better for her. Now she's not this like weird semi-sexualized object. And now she looks like a hero, anti-hero kind of a thing, where you could like kind of get behind her and be like excited about cheering for her, which I 100% agree with. I'm in. I think this looks way better. Obviously.
Don't get me wrong. I think this looks way better than the other one. It's James Gunn. I trust James Gunn. He's great. But because it is DC and because it is Warner Brothers and because it feels like they have too many cooks in the kitchen when it comes to some of this stuff, I'm not on the fence about this. I will definitely go see this. I'm just going to say that I'm cautiously optimistic. And there's a little bit of me that's just got a little bit of hesitance. I just, we're still a little far out. Like, this is still going to be a little bit. I'd like to see a real good trailer or two, and then still also try to suspend my reality and not remember how good the trailer for that other one looked. But this did look good. Like I said, there's just a few things that I kind of like, little problematic, but it does. It looks good. Okay, so speaking of problematic. Speaking of things that I have talked about, I think, to death, which is why I'm going to take this, Matt. We got a trailer for the old Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
What did you think of
that? Here's the reality of what I thought of it. It looks cool, but I don't remember the first one very well, so I don't even remember if it was any different on anything that I saw, and I just recently saw the Justice League within the last 3 months, and I don't know what's different about it.
That's one of the reasons why I watched Justice League last night.
Yeah, that was smart. I should have done that.
Because I wanted to rewatch it and then like compare it to the trailer, and I've rewatched the trailer right after I finished watching it, and I showed it to Brita. It was funny because Brita kind of went like, she's like, this thing comes off as super pretentious. Like, look at me. This is the Snyder, because they're playing the what's the name? The Jeff Buckley version of Hallelujah. The song, the song I'm talking about. It's the the one that's written by what's his name? Cohen. I was gonna say Andy Cohen, but that's not right. I don't know, Bernard Cohen or something. I can't remember.
Sure.
Anyway, but it's the song Hallelujah. It's the Jeff Buckley's version, and then at the end it's like Hallelujah, Hallelujah, and then it's like boom, and it just says JL hashtag the Snyder Cut or hashtag Snyder Cut, and Brita's like, what the heck? This is so pretentious. Like, look at me, I'm all this, and I'm the best, and I was like, wow, it was just pretty funny. Her take on it. I was like, okay, yes, it's a little pretentious, but they're also kind of playing up the fact that like fans with the whole hashtag release the Snyder Cut had been going on for freaking years. Like it's been like 3 years. Yeah. And they finally gave into this. Here's the thing though. I watched this trailer for the Snyder Cut version of Justice League. They show a lot of stuff in that trailer. Like they don't actually show a lot of stuff about the movie, but they show a lot of things that were not in the movie, things that were different in the movie. And some of the stuff looked really, really, really cool. Like, so for instance, they showed Steppenwolf. And by the way, it's Leonard Cohen, not Bernard. Okay. They showed Steppenwolf in this trailer, and like they've redone the CGI on him. His armor looks like more bad A. He looks a lot better. Whereas like the CGI they ended up going with in the movie just kind of looked okay. Like he looked a little too rubbery for me, as I remember, like the Uncanny Valley thing. Anyway, he looked better. They also showed Darkseid, and basically Darkseid is kind of like the big bad in DC, and Steppenwolf is kind of like his minion, even though like Steppenwolf is like the ender of worlds. They show Darkseid in this trailer, and they show the Flash Barry Allen meeting Iris West, which is a crucial character in his backstory and in his comics and the TV show. They showed more of the backstory of Cyborg. They showed more things you could see. In this clip, they showed, obviously Superman in his black suit, because when it was filmed, he was going to be in a black suit, not the red and blue. And when Joss Whedon came in and they kind of recut what Zack Snyder filmed, they were like, no. And they edited the colors in post. They didn't make him go change and reshoot everything. They did all that. So they're going to show him in the black costume, the black with the silver logo on it. Here's the thing that's interesting to me. So they're putting together this cut basically from a whole bunch of other stuff that was already filmed. It actually doesn't look like that there's any new stuff that was filmed for this Snyder Cut. It looked like it's all stuff that he'd already filmed that they cut for, I don't know, for time, for continuity, because they wanted to get in some other stuff. I don't know if you remember, but there was that whole scene with like that Russian family that they kind of showed. They was kind of like hanging out in their house when all the I don't know what they were, like the demi demons or whatever, where the little bugs were all kind of flying around. That was just a Joss Whedon thing to put in there to kind of like humanize like the whole like idea of like there's all these things coming and like how is that actually going to be affecting real world people, to kind of just give it a little more heart. None of that was in the Snyder Cut, so like that's probably going to be gone. Stuff like that. Anyway, this is going to be a 4-hour movie. 4 hours. So obviously they're redoing a bunch of CGI. They're not filming anything new. They're cutting it together with stuff that they've already shot to like kind of fill out some backstory and try to make it maybe seem a little more cohesive. Because one of the complaints you and I both had is that we had a standalone Superman movie, Man of Steel. Then we had a crossover movie, Batman v Superman. Then Justice League. And yes, we got Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman. And we did see a brief cameo by The Flash. But now and technically Aquaman too. But now we've got like Aquaman and Cyborg and Flash that they're all trying to introduce in Justice League, but they've got to do it super fast so we can actually get to like, hey, we're all teaming up to fight Steppenwolf at the end and to save the world and whatever, right? And we've got to use the mother boxes to bring back Superman because we need the big guns. We need soups. Mm-hmm. This feels like they're going to try to flesh that out more, make more sense of it. I like that idea in theory, but it's going to be a 4-hour movie. And on top of that, they're going to release them in hour increments. So they're going to show you the first hour of the Snyder Cut. And then I don't know if it's going to be a night later or two. I don't know if they're going to do like a 4-night event or if they're going to stretch it out over 4 weeks. Then it's going to be the second hour, then the third hour, then the fourth hour. And once they've shown them all like that, then they're going to put them all together and you can just go watch the 4-hour version of this.
Yep.
I think that the trailer did a lot of good. It definitely appeals, I think, to a lot of the fans that wanted the Snyder Cut for the longest time. I still look at this and go, okay, I'm going to watch it because I want to see what's different. I want to see what Zack Snyder's, I guess, truest vision of how this was supposed to be is going to be. I hope it improves upon it. I would love to see more backstory on the others, especially since we haven't got a Flash movie or a Cyborg movie yet. Or a Batman movie, technically. Like, we haven't even had a standalone Batman movie with Batfleck, and we know that's not happening. So I'm excited enough to see it, but it's like at the same time I'm like, oh come on, it just feels like we're just treading over the same ground here, kind of.
I get that. I am way more interested in the basically making this a miniseries. Way more interested in that. Like if they were like, you're gonna get like a miniseries, like a BBC miniseries of the Justice League, like awesome,
right?
Like that sounds great, and I'm much more inclined to watch it that way than I am to watch a 4-hour movie. And if I try and sell it to my wife and say, Jesse, let's just watch, like it's a new series that's come out.
Yeah.
On HBO Max, and we're gonna get the free trial because no way in heck I'm paying for this.
Right, yes. I agree.
That we're gonna go, okay, 1 hour, we just take a week and we do it that way. I think she'll be more interested. I think it's easier to digest, especially if there's a lot of slower backstory. You can forgive it more when it's in an hour chunk like that. Right. I'm in. I think this sounds way better. I'm excited about it. I did not know about this. Like, as you were talking, I was actually reading about how they were going to release it, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds great." Yeah. For me, that's how I prefer to watch things anyway. Is if they can make it so it feels almost like it wraps up at the end of one and leaves you wanting the second one, then I'm like, okay, and then I'm in. That sounds cool.
Yeah, I like I said, you're probably right. The hour increments might be an easier sell because Brita sat through a 2-hour version of this movie. And she said it was better than she thought. She enjoyed it. But if I said like, hey, now let's sit down and watch the version of this movie that was the way that the director actually intended it to be, and it's twice as long,
right?
That's probably going to be a no-go for her.
That's a hard sell for me.
And HBO Max. I'm not paying for HBO Max to see this thing.
No, screw that.
Because you know what's going to happen?
HBO Max.
They're going to sell it. They'll sell it.
I know they will.
So, like, it'll be on HBO Max for, I don't know, a prescribed amount of time. And then it's going to go to the Google Play Store and to
Well, he's trying to get it in theaters, too.
Yeah. And if it goes to theaters, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Agreed.
Listen. If you have been one of the hashtag Release the Snyder Cut fanboys, fangirls since the beginning, this is exciting big news for you.
Yep.
If you're kind of in my camp, this is kind of like all right, I'm going to begrudgingly kind of go along with this. It could be good. I really, really hope with this one, Matt, I really hope that have my expectations subverted and I see something that interests me.
Yeah.
I don't know that I will, because I don't know that I necessarily care for Zack Snyder's DC Murderverse that I call it. But we'll see. We'll see. Speaking of things we get to see a new Wonder Woman movie eventually. Oh, yes, we do.
Wonder Woman 1984 got a new trailer.
Yep.
And this one exposed a lot more about what this movie's going to be about, who the villain is, what the villain is, and how what's her Kristen Wiig, how her
Yeah.
character is going to play into that larger plot of kind of getting what you want. And anyway, there's a whole, I don't know to explain the trailer to everybody here, but some highlights or some things that I noticed as a newbie who doesn't know anything about Wonder Woman. Okay. Again, not a comic book guy. I know nothing about DC other than the movies that I have seen. And there are many of the DC movies I still have not yet
Sure.
and some I wish I could never have seen. Anyway, getting back to it, she apparently has this whip lightning connection. She can ride lightning with her whip.
Yes, her lasso of truth. She can use to use it to grapple onto
Guys, it's
lightning.
a lasso. It's not a whip. Okay,
It's a lasso.
So you don't sound stupid.
The lasso of truth. Come on.
The lasso of truth. She can ride lightning. I thought that was cool.
That was cool. That did look really cool.
I was in on that. The other things that were interesting is the evolution of a human being becoming an animal.
Yeah, she becomes Cheetah.
Like literally, becomes think cats, but you're a cheetah.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. She literally becomes a cheetah.
So are they going to have digital buttholes for her then? Like they did with
They
cats?
have to, right? I mean, they hired the cats guy. No, I'm just kidding. They didn't.
Hope
they didn't.
That's a throwback to a bad joke from when we talked about that.
Oh
sorry.
my gosh.
That's a deep cut. Deep cut.
Anyway, so the other thing that was interesting that I have no idea about or understand is her new armor. She's like a falcon armor.
She's got that gold armor on.
Yeah, it's like full body. And then the wings went away when she was ready to fight.
She threw them off like she was wearing them a harness, which totally looks bad, eh?
Yeah, can she fly? I hope she can kind of fly or glide like freaking Batman. That would be sick. I'm in. Long story short, this looks cool. I did think that the whole cheetah thing looked a little stupid.
The CGI
I
on it.
hate to say it.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, Matt. I was with you. The CGI on it looked a little rough. Now, hopefully that's just because of what they showed us, because they didn't show us a lot. And when you saw Kristen Wiig's character as the cheetah, it was in the middle of an action sequence.
Yeah.
So hopefully it looks better when she's, I don't know, standing still, when she's up close. I mean, it's just...
We'll see, because it has showed her kind of in stages of becoming this cheetah. It didn't go from Kristen Wiig to cheetah. There was an in-between stage. And I've got two problems, and they all involve Kristen Wiig's character. The latter being the cheetah design and how that was shown to us in the trailer that we just talked about. I didn't like that. The other thing is just the casting of Kristen Wiig for me is not believable. I don't like it. I don't think it's good casting. And I understand you wanted to take a risk and you want to hire a comedian, but it's annoying to me because she played the same nerd character in her Ghostbusters movie. And I was like, okay, great. So we get another Kristen Wiig being a nerd at the beginning, which I was annoyed with because we've already seen that. And then I'm supposed to believe that she's a villain. I just think I don't like the casting. Personally, for me, it doesn't work. And Jessie when she saw the trailer, she went, I like Wonder Woman. I like everything I see. I hate that Kristen Wiig is in this movie. It doesn't work.
See, I'm gonna take the opposite side of this.
That's okay.
I really like the Kristen Wiig casting because Barbara Ann Minerva, the character that becomes Cheetah, is a friend of Diana Prince's, and she is book shy and kind of nerdy and a little dweeby.
Right.
So they needed someone who can play that and play that pretty well. Sometimes when actors or actresses, they try to play nerdy, famously, go back to the 80s or even the 90s when you have any of this is the nerdy girl, and then she goes out to a party or she has an experience and there's a boy she likes, and so she kind of goes through a transformation and becomes kind of glammed up, and then she comes out and then all of a sudden she's the hot girl, right, and whatever. It's you look at who they cast, and it's like, okay, Rachel Weisz is a gorgeous, gorgeous actress. You put a pair of glasses on her, that doesn't make her nerdy.
Right.
No one's falling for no one's looking at her thinking, you know what? She's not that good looking.
Right.
Oh my goodness, they took the glasses off and wow, no, okay, no one's falling for that. But with Kristen Wiig, she has this like look about her and the way she plays it from what I've seen in the trailer, that she plays that nerdy, there's like this vulnerability, shyness to the way she's approaching it, and she looks at that I think is perfect, because we're gonna see, and I don't even think she's she becomes, okay, her character is like a kind of a nemesis, arch nemesis of Wonder Woman throughout the comic book arc and comic book series, right? But I think the real bad guy here is Pedro Pascal's character of Maxwell Lord, who's like, I don't know, he's like claiming he can give everything to anyone in the world that they desire. Basically kind of like he's playing almost like some sort of like televangelist who's like, I mean, even though he's not playing televangelist, but that idea of like, I'm going to promise you, like a politician, I'm going to promise you that I can do all these things for you.
Yeah.
And get people to buy in on that notion and hook, line, and sinker, just, drag people in. Because we don't know how Steve Trevor comes back. I thought Steve Trevor was dead. And all of a sudden, like, now this is supposed to be like 1984. He died in World War I. And now he's back. And so this character, Maxwell Lord, I think it's going to be almost kind of like Palpatine seducing Anakin Skywalker and eventually getting Anakin to turn into Darth Vader. I think it's going to be more of that, where Maxwell Lord is going to take Barbara Ann Minerva and is going to slowly turn her and get her to see the world from a certain point of view.
Sure. Where
then she like looks at her friend Diana as the reason why the world is the way it is, and she's actually the cause of this and the problem, and that's gonna get her to then believe what I'm doing is justified and is righteous and is right. And then she's not going to look at her motivations as being villainous, and so we're going to see that turn. And there was some shots in there of Kristen Wiig that I went like, ooh, like she's kind of got me believing that she's she's angry and that she could be villainous. I like it. If you don't like it, that's okay. Like, that doesn't hurt my feelings. Or whatever. Like, I'm not taking it personally. I'm not calling out Patty Jenkins and be like, Patty Jenkins, sure, you directed this movie, and like Matt doesn't like. No, like, we're cool.
Right.
I think it's interesting. I haven't seen the other Ghostbusters, so I can't I don't have that comparison. Like, she just did that one. I can't, but
it didn't work for me there either, to be honest. I don't know if I like her as an actress. I like her as a comedian. I don't know that I like her as an actress. Maybe that's my problem. I like her. I do. But for me, it doesn't work. That's just, I don't believe it. When I see her acting, I don't believe her. And that's just my problem.
Your kind of preconceived notion, because
I just
from the
don't
SNL
believe
stuff
her.
and
I just know she's funny. I don't believe her.
Right. Well, I mean,
we'll see I hope she convinces me. I really do. I'll give her a shot because I love Wonder Woman.
Robin Williams was one of the best comedians probably of all time. And he played some creepy, freaking roles because he was a really good actor. So, I don't know. This is coming out October 2nd, right, Matt?
Yes, sir.
So, later this year, we're going to get to see Wonder Woman 1984.
Yay!
I am all about this. This looks good to me.
Yeah.
I want to see it. Cheesy looking cheetah CGI fight and all.
Yes.
Because it did look a little bit that. Okay. Let's see here. I think this is the last thing we have.
Yeah, this is it. This is the big kahuna.
This is the big one. We've talked about this some before. And we've kind of talked around it a little bit. But we know that we're getting a Batman movie. And it's called The Batman. Not Batman.
Which, may I interject? I like that title. I just am going to say it. I think it's cool. Well, it differentiates. I think it's cool.
We're getting The Flash, The Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
I guess that makes sense.
Maybe DC. Oh, the Suicide Squad.
Green Lantern.
Yeah. Maybe that's how they're going to start doing these new solo films. It'll be
maybe
the whatever. Anyway, I said that I really didn't like the casting of Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Yes.
At DC Fandome on Saturday, we got the first teaser trailer of the Batman. Now, I want to be very clear that they only used footage for stuff they've already shot. Because remember, we talked about this, that they started principal photography, they were shooting, and then COVID hit. The pandemic, everything clamped down and shut down. And then the director and writer, Matt Reeves, was saying like, hey, you know what? I've had time to look at a lot of this stuff. I'm actually rewriting parts of the film right now to work better, to streamline some stuff. So we know that he's been continuing to work on it, and he's getting extra time, which is unheard of. Like, had COVID not happened, whatever he had written down was going to be what was filmed. So hopefully he's improving on it. But what he did do is he took footage that they have filmed already, which also means that maybe some of it might not be in the final film, because you never know. But they clipped together a teaser trailer. It's like 2 minutes long. It is freaking insanely good. I am jacked about this right now. Robert Pattinson, we don't see him a lot as Bruce Wayne, but the few times we do see him, he still looks a little moody, broody, kind of emo-y to me. However, in this world, Batman is moody, is broody.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the Bruce Wayne part, though, is where we actually see Robert Pattinson. Bruce Wayne's not exactly moody and broody like Batman is, right? It's kind of like he puts on a good face when he's, doing the billionaire playboy type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But this looks good. And I think Robert Pattinson looks good in this. I noticed that they only played like 2 lines of his dialogue. So we don't get to hear a lot of him speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But we do get a shot of the Riddler. And the Riddler's, it's not the Jim Carrey Riddler. It's not the Riddler from the 1967 Batman. It's not a green suit with question marks and a little bowler hat and, and a cane. Yeah. It's not that. But he has some sort of mask on, and he's got some sort of goggles, and he's duct taping up someone.
Yeah.
And he's leaving actual riddles behind in these little what looks like homemade Hallmark cards for Batman, and putting these cards and these notes on people that are strapped with explosives to their chest. And so it looks like it's going to be a more sinister feeling Riddler, which I think is kind of really cool. This is supposed to be an early Batman. So at this point, Batman's barely been Batman for a little while now. Matter of fact, the cops in Gotham City are still very super corrupt, and they're not working with Batman. Jim Gordon, I think, is maybe starting to kind of trust Batman a little bit or know of him. Even the criminals don't know who Batman really is yet. So this is interesting because we're getting a standalone Batman film, and it's breaking away from the Bat fleck where Batman's been Batman for 20 years. This is more hey, he's barely been Batman. He's angry. He's not messing around. You see this moment when he attacks one of these criminals, and he just goes off on the guy, just starts beating the guy and beating him. And then when the guy is obviously down, then he still takes a couple more shots at him and beats him. He looks like he's just a very angry version of Batman, which is not what we saw recently in the DCEU with the Batfleck version of Batman. He's more more stoic and more okay, I've been doing this long enough. I'm not getting angry about this. Let's just figure out how we got to solve this and let's take care of it. Commissioner Gordon looks good. We see a little bit of Catwoman. Catwoman's gonna be in this thing. And the other thing is I think there's still supposed to be Penguin in this movie, and we didn't see any of that. Because remember, only 25% of this movie has been shot. Is actually on film. But boy, this is great. They show this like muscle car looking version of the Batmobile, which I don't know. What did you think of that? Did that look cool to you?
I was not distracted or disappointed in the bat suit, nor in the Batmobile.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be from the images I'd seen, and I thought I was going to be distracted a little bit, but wrong-o. Like, I thought I thought it looked cool.
Here's my one complaint about the bat suit. The 89 Batman to me, let's talk about the major versions of Batman. The 67, the 66, the Adam West Batman, as Adam West called it, the White Knight version of Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, that's campy and fun and silly.
Sure.
The kind of the gray and the blue, whatever. The 89 version of Batman, the Tim Burton Batman, that suit's pretty iconic to me. The Joel Schumacher bat nipple version, let's just not even talk about it. It's just bad. The Christopher Nolan Batman, I liked that suit.
Yeah.
I did, but I actually really liked Ben Affleck's version of Batman, his suit. Like, I really liked that with like the dark gray and the black. It very much looks like artwork from the Dark Knight Rises comics and stuff, like the older version. I really like this. My problem with the Robert Pattinson Batman suit is it reminds me way too much of Daredevil from the Netflix series. It just looks like a bunch of kind of like plating. The bat symbol on his chest is so subdued, you almost don't even see it at all. It's almost like it's not there. It looks like you could just say like, oh, some of the plates around his chest look cracked a little bit, maybe. But as far as like the cape and the cowl portion, like the head, from the head up, it looks way too similar to me as the Daredevil suit. I mean, to me, it was like, they took Daredevil's suit and they moved the little horns back a little bit and made him a little taller, and they gave him a cape and painted it all black. That's my one thing. I was like, it's not like it's distracting.
Yeah.
But it's just too similar to that.
Okay.
And
I can understand that.
I wanted that to stand out more. I thought that the muscle car version of the Batmobile was a cool, different choice.
Yeah.
And I really like it. Gosh.
We saw the Penguin, by the way.
Did we?
Yeah. It's Colin Farrell, and it's gross. He looks grotesque.
I'm gonna have to go back.
You get a short glimpse of what he looks like. I'm looking at the picture right now, the screenshot from the trailer, and he's gross.
I'll have to go back and I'll have to
get a
short
short glimpse, yeah. Just to get a lot of kind of short glimpses. The problem I had with this trailer is I'm not sure who I was looking at sometimes. I wasn't sure if I was looking at Robert Pattinson or if I was looking at like who the villain was, or if I was looking at somebody else. That was my only complaint, is I was a little confused as to who I was looking at the time.
Yeah.
But it's just a teaser. It's meant to be, you're not supposed to gather much from it other than confirming all the things we already knew and who was going to be in it.
Right. I mean, we got Catwoman, we got Riddler, and we've got Penguin. I really think Riddler is the main villain. I think we're going to see a little bit of Catwoman here and there, just as kind of like hey, we're setting up things for down the road.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of the Penguin's in this thing.
I don't know either. So from what I gathered from the interview, Catwoman she's not like what we saw her suit is as developed as she's going to become for Catwoman, which is basically a cut up like beanie. Yeah. There was not much to it.
Yeah, it's not the Selena Kyle we're used to seeing.
This is, and this is Penguin, but this is Penguin before he becomes Penguin, and he doesn't want to be called Penguin. This is apparently before he becomes this villainous Penguin as well. So we're kind of getting the main villain, like you said, which I think you're right, is the Riddler.
Yeah.
And then we're setting ourselves up for the future with these other villains.
Which can I just say real quick? Rewatching Justice League, there's a quick little quip where Batman says is talking with Alfred about like how like the end of the world's coming and Steppenwolf and blah, 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 blah. And Alfred's like, can't we just go back to the days when there was stuffed penguins with bombs in them or something like that? And like Batman just kind of smiled like, yeah, those were the days. I was like, oh, snap. Like a penguin reference in there, which was like really kind of shy and quick and like really small. And like knowing the fact like the penguin's going to be in this like standalone thing. And like we're kind of going back because like we got the Penguin in Batman Returns with Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
And that was kind of creepy and gross and weird.
It was disgusting.
But like we hadn't really seen the Penguin. And when I think of the Penguin, I think of the 1960s version of the Penguin with the Burgess Meredith, and wah, 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 you know, the real chomping on a stogie and like everything's kind of campy. And so I don't really care for the Penguin a lot, but I'm so curious to see what they're going to do now with Penguin.
Yeah, I'll say this. I just watched Batman Returns like 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
I liked it a lot, and I liked the Penguin. I mean, as gross as he was, he made a really compelling and somewhat relatable villain. Anyway, there were a lot of layers, and I actually very much liked it. Now, pulling back to this trailer, this looks freaking sick. I could not agree more with what you said. This looks amazing. This has quieted a lot of my fears. I have full faith in Robert Pattinson. He's doing, for me, I know you love the 1989 Batman, which I like that movie a lot, but that's not like top tier Batman.
That's not your Batman,
The Dark Knight is the greatest Batman movie ever made. I don't believe that there's an argument to be made in any other direction.
Oh, I don't disagree with you. I do believe The Dark Knight is the best Batman movie ever made.
Right.
I just don't think Christian Bale's the best Batman.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. Now, what the reason, so I say that, and I think there's a lot of things that they took from The Dark Knight just in watching this trailer. It's dark. It is brutal.
Yep.
I mean, my favorite part of the trailer was the part you mentioned where Robert Pattinson's beating the living heck out of that guy. And this is what Christopher Nolan, and my brother pointed this out as well, this is what Christopher Nolan never really got right, was the action sequences. And already I could tell, like, Matt Reeves is going to give us some brutal action, and we're seeing a Batman that might kill some people. I mean, this is like...
Okay, can we... Let's time out for a second. Batman has killed people in every single movie Batman's been in. Can we just acknowledge this?
I'm brutal, like, straight up.
Okay, now there may be differences in the way he does it.
Yes.
But like, I hear this online, and this is like, people will say like, you know, like I'll hear people say like, I don't like this Batman version because, you know, that Batman, you know, he shot a guy. It's like, what are you talking about? And then people say like, Batman doesn't kill. He goes out of his way to like stop from killing people. I'm like, no, he doesn't. Stop. Like, Batman obviously kills people. He doesn't always kill people, and he doesn't go around with a gun shooting people, but in the comics, it has happened. The guy throws people off of buildings, and they fall multiple stories.
Right.
Tell me that person didn't die either on contact or shortly thereafter from internal bleeding in the hospital.
Right. Yeah.
You look at some of the things where he shoots, you know, like rockets into buildings and, you know, it collapse. Come on.
Right.
Batman has killed people, and there's been probably collateral damage where he's honestly probably killed civilians. Batman, there's a reason why we like Batman, okay? Batman is a vigilante. He's not a superhero.
Right.
He's a vigilante. We love him because he sees a problem that needs to be corrected. He has the means and the desire to correct it, and he goes out of his way to correct it. And usually, yes, he is fighting against these super villains, but Batman, let's be honest, Batman kills people. And he's gonna mess some people up in this version of the Batman that Matt Reeves is doing. There's no doubt about it in my mind that Batman's gonna kill people. If I start hearing people going crazy about Batman doesn't kill, and now he's killing in this, like, that's just one of those, I don't know, like, maybe I'm up on my soapbox here. I get it. Okay, I'll take a step down. I'll calm down a little bit. But I'm just saying, like, can we just not go there when this movie happens, because Matt, it's going to happen. Batman's going to kill people, and there's going to be people that are going to freak out and say, I don't like it because he killed people. He's killed people in every movie. I'm sorry. Like, go back and look at it. Like, it's basic. Come on.
So, anyway.
I love my soapbox. I'm sorry, Matt.
Goodness. This looks great. We've got some serious, I think we've got some serious psyche that we're going to see in Batman. I think we're going to explore his psyche in ways that we haven't before, but because I think he's troubled. I don't think this is like Christian Bale Batman, where it's like Batman Begins, and he's got these psychological kind of things that he deals with. But I think we're like getting like a depression, anxiety Batman with Robert Pattinson. Yeah. And if that's the case, then this is a perfect casting choice, because he can play that individual really well. This is the last thing I'll mention about this trailer. I don't like his Spider-Man 3 hair. Yeah. That's the only thing about the character design that I was like, I don't like that design. Yeah. But other than that, I'm in. I'm cool. Let's go.
So another thing here that's kind of interesting is this is supposed to take place kind of like in what they're calling like year 2. So he's been Batman for about a year at this point, I think, maybe just a little over, because they're going to do a Gotham police type of show that's going to be on HBO Max. That's supposed to be kind of like year 1. It's going to be kind of like a prequel to the movie. And it's going to be kind of like how the beginning, I think, of Batman and kind of like his journey to becoming the masked vigilante, starting to like rise up, and like we're going to see kind of that through like through the police department's kind of view of the situation as it's unfolding. So it's kind of a cool thing, like that we're going to get a prequel series that's going to explore some of this stuff, but it's going to be a show not necessarily just focused on Batman, but on the corrupt cops in Gotham, because obviously like the corruption is like super high from everything we're reading and everything we're seeing in the Batman. So once again, I don't want to get HBO Max, but I'll probably figure out a way to see that stuff.
I'll probably get it.
I mean maybe pay for a month, and watch it when it's there. I definitely thought this was the big thing. Matt, like going back to what we were saying at the beginning of this discussion, my expectations for the DC Fandome event were so low. I mean, just so freaking
I didn't even know it was happening. That's how low my expectations
right?
were.
But like looking back over the list of the things we got a trailer for the Batman. We got a trailer for Wonder Woman 1984. We got a trailer / behind the scenes for the Suicide Squad. We got a reveal for Shazam. So they're hitting we got a whole bunch of information on the Flash movie. So like we got a lot of like big trailers and big reveals and like big information on their movies. Yeah. Which is what they needed to be doing and what they needed to be focusing on. And then we also got information on these video games that are looking so good. Like I probably would have passed on both Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now I'm sold. Like, I'm going to get both of those games when they release. So this event actually for me was very refreshing. I very much enjoyed all this stuff that they released. I feel very hopeful about DC right now, that there's so many things that look good coming down the pipe that even if 50% of it is good, I'm still going to be extremely happy.
Yep. Yeah, man. I just am with you. I'm blown away. It makes me happy that there's some good stuff coming.
If there was one thing that you wish you would have seen or even hinted at or teased at all, what would that one thing have been?
Nothing. Okay. They hit the notes for me. There's nothing in the DC world that I'm aware of that I want because I'm unfamiliar with DC. Okay.
Fair enough.
So the fact that they're showing me, they showed the Batman.
Yep.
And I was not expecting a trailer for the Batman. And that alone got me hyped. I was stoked to get that. And that's what I wanted, and that's what they gave me.
The only thing I would have wanted is something in the Superman realm. Because
of course, that makes sense.
Because we saw Wonder Woman, we saw Batman. I mean, that's the holy trinity of DC. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. That is it. I would have loved, gosh, if they would have brought up freaking what's his face? Henry Cavill, and said, look, we've worked out a deal. Henry Cavill has signed on to do another Superman movie. Even if it was just that one sentence, that to me would have been like something that would keep me going for a few years until something comes out. We know more, just because we know that it's been, like it's off, he's done. But then he says, well, I've still got the cape and I've got the tights, maybe, maybe not. And I think we're going to get a cameo in Shazam 2. I really do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I really think that's going to happen. But it would have been that. The other thing that I would have loved to get just a little teaser of, something with the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Because the Green Lantern is a big DC property in the comic book world. And we got one movie, and come on, Ryan Reynolds. I mean, it's Ryan Reynolds, but I mean, it was not good. It was not good. So that would have been great. Just a fan wish list. That's just like a fan wish list. Everything they showed me was exciting. Here's the deal, Super Friends. We want to hear from you. The hall of the Justice League is open. We want you, Super Friends, to come in and to convene with us and let us know what was your favorite thing that was revealed at the DC Fandome. What was the thing that stood out for you? Was it one of the panels? Was it, one of the trailers, video games, movies, just little tidbits about what they're doing? Let us know. We will talk about that next week. Oh, so good, Matt. Like I'm super, super hyped. So I want to hear from the Super Friends, and I want to see what they're hyped about, and we can talk about that next week. So
nice.
Yeah. Matt, this is episode 196. We only have a few more to go, and then we're hitting our 200. We're looking down the road of that. Super Friends, we got some things in the works. We got some things planned. It'll be fun. Next week, we will talk a little bit more about that and how we want to get you involved. And we're gonna that's our little teaser. That's just our little teaser to get you coming back each and every week. But we'll talk about that next week a little bit. And we'll go from there. Super Friends, once again, thank you for being here this week. I am Spencer Stapleton. That is Matt Shaw. May the Force be with you. Always.